Hello and welcome back to Kaely Daily. Today's question is, when should I take a childbirth education class?
This is Kaely Daily, the bi-weekly podcast about all things doula tips and tits, where we answer one question about pregnancy, labor, postpartum, or lactation in order to have your journey in this parenting world be just a little bit more informed and filled with consent.
Welcome back. I'm Kaely Harrod, the host of Kaely Daily and childbirth educator, doula, mom, wife, sister, friend, all of the things. And today we are diving into a when question. So I get these frequently, and I will say there's, of course, not a perfect answer, right? So this is my recommendation on when you should take a childbirth class. Now, it depends a little bit on how long that childbirth class is. So this is not the episode that I'm going to answer the what kinds of childbirth classes are there question, but that is coming in a near future episode. I can't speak today. And so look for that. But today's episode is specifically going into when. And so childbirth classes vary in length. Some are series that are like 3 to 6 weeks, right? Some are a weekend, some are even one day. Others are online self-paced. So like my own class, for instance, the class that sponsors this awesome podcast, the Birth Prep Blueprint, that is self-paced, meaning that when you start it, you go at your own pace and you finish it when you feel like it, right? Now, my recommendation is to go like one module at a time and kind of take your time. If you get overwhelmed, pause it, come back. You can certainly finish it in a weekend, but I think if you start it and have a couple weeks to take it, that's an easier way to really digest the information. So in general, my recommendation is to take a childbirth class in your second trimester. Now, there are a few reasons for this. One is typically the second trimester is the best in lots of ways for lots of people. Usually, physically, it's the easiest trimester for many people. Oftentimes, emotionally and hormonally, it's easier. Maybe you have stopped having some nausea. I know that is not true for everyone, which sucks. But many people feel great in their second trimester. You're also not very highly likely to give birth during your second trimester. So that's a very small percentage of people who have a baby that early. So that's a good time to do it. The reason I think second trimester is better than third trimester is that you have time to adjust things in your plan if you want, right? So my assumption would be that if you haven't given birth before and you haven't taken a childbirth class, you don't actually know all that much about it probably. And so you're taking a class to learn things that you don't already know. So what you may find is that you maybe want to give birth in a different place, or maybe you want to change providers, or maybe you want to prepare in a different kind of way for a different kind of pain management technique. And if that's the case, having some time to do that research is really, really important. So that's another reason. The other thing is that I think being able to check off some things that need to happen before labor is a good idea. And childbirth education is one that you can do that with. Now, things like CPR and things like that, you can take any time, but I think classes that you want to have finished before the baby comes for sure should happen in that second trimester, maybe the early part of the third trimester, but I kind of feel like that's pushing it, especially if you're going to a class in person, because if that class is canceled, maybe your due date is really soon and you can't reschedule, right? So second trimester is firmly my recommendation. I will get into types of classes, lengths of classes, how to choose what kind of class in a future episode. If you have not already subscribed to this lovely podcast, I would love for you to do that. I would also really love for you to leave a review. I have been getting some amazing feedback from you all about how helpful this podcast is, and that is fantastic, and it makes my heart happy. And also, it would be really, really helpful for other listeners to hear that feedback by leaving a review for the podcast. So I would be eternally grateful if you did that. I would also really love to hear your questions. I feel like I kind of have endless questions to answer, but also I prioritize ones that are sent to me via DMs on Instagram or emailed to me. And so if you send me a question that way, I will get to it sooner rather than later. All right, I'll see you on the next episode.
These episodes are edited and produced by Kaely Harrod, as I'm sure you can probably tell. And our amazing music is credited in the show notes as well. So we look forward to seeing you on the next episode. And in the meantime, have wonderful and consent-filled births.